Hi, Dad. I'm with my brother Dan at the minute, who's gone off to watch the TV.
Hello, Daddy. Hello, Anne.
Hi.
And here is Phoebe.
We're just about to have family prayers, is that right?
Yes.
And I say, have a good time and come on, get up there. So does Phoebe.
Well, I suppose when it comes to Dan, he is a sort of, well, a cheeky smiler, an apple wanter, a bad reactor to no-sayers, a hair puller, a journey seeker to be an apple eater, ground plodder, wobble waddler, fridge opener, fridge thief, apple eater, loud things watcher, hob turner honour, melting candle watcher, frying pan melter, radio melter, olive oil spiller, flame watcher, cupboard lock breaker, apple eater, chaos giggler, uh-oh, A single bite, a haiku. There's a beat missing. This haiku's like an apple Dan has stolen.
Dan? you got an apple?
The Julie's House Heist. It's not the kill, it's the thrill of the chase. That casserole cooking looking right in my face. There's no better time, no better place for them sozzies to be mine. I'll steal them with grace. It's not the kill, it's the thrill of the crime. My fingers, how they linger on that fresh cream key lime. There's no better place, no better time to clutch one creamy handful and squash it down till it's slime. It's not the kill, it's the thrill of the rob. A bowl of apples from the chapel, straight in my gob. Just a single bite, a little daub. From every single apple, that will finish the job.
Now look, I'm trusting you guys, alright? And if you don't do what I say, you're gonna end up like this. Okay, now look, I'm trusting you guys, alright? You don't do what I say, you're gonna end up.
Is that nice? Ruben made you those. Yes, he did.
Church boys. Not many boys I've met come to church with jumpers wet, or make the sermon a duet by giggling and gargling on the steps. Not many boys I've known sing the hymns out with a groan, treat the church chairs like a throne, hold an iPad like a phone. Not many boys I've heard say so much without a word, stealing tuck shop they prefer, then look again when they return. Not many boys are glad to loudly interrupt their dad at the pulpit with a smile. His iPad shouts out, I see pride, I see power, I have won. Don't take no crap off no one, I'm a badass mother's son. Now the service has begun. Not many boys I've met swear in church with jumpers wet. A cheeky chuckle made a threat. It makes him tricky to forget. So I wouldn't normally include context for any of these poems, however this one deserves a story. So my brother Dan likes to play lots of movies out loud on his iPad, and there was this one time where he was walking into church and all of us had our heads bowed in prayer. My father was praying from the front, he's the pastor of our church, and my brother comes in, blaring from his iPad that scene from Cool Runnings where Yul Brynner is hyping up Junior in the mirror saying, "I see pride, I see power, I see a badass mother who won't take no crap off of no one." And he played it so loud right in the middle of this prayer. Pretty sure the prayer was about humility as well. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Shelley. Everyone in the Walnut class had their picture on the wall, all neatly picked and taken on picture day with their names underneath. That is, of course, everyone except Shelley. Shelley had her picture taken with everybody else, but her photograph had been taken down. The photo itself was crumpled and streaked, her face had been moistened and the fragments had begun to tear into soft tissue. The corners were dog-eared and her smile was folded. The paper had been weathered, constantly getting wet and then dry, then wet, then dry, again and again and again. Up on the board there was just a name with a big open empty space above it. No face, no smile, no Shelley. But the teachers never stopped to worry about where her photo was, because they all knew. It was in the clasped, drooly hand of a little smiling boy who would bring Shelley's photo right up to the bridge of his nose so his eyes would cross when he looked at her. He would giggle and yelp with excitement and joy when she walked into the class, and he would wander up to his teaching assistants, carers, classmates, and point at Shelley's beautiful crooked smile and her long ginger hair. He would always smile at her during class and poke her forehead with slightly salivated hands. Wide-eyed, she grinned back and giggled with the boy. And somehow, everyone in the Walnut class suspected that Shelley's picture would never make it back up on the wall.
Daddy.
Okay. A handful. A very true limerick. There once was a dad whose goal was to keep his son under control, but it didn't go as planned because his son stole a handful of food that was in the dog's bowl.
Did he do that?
Yeah. A verbatim inventory of things that can be found on the floor of a room Daniel's just been in. Number 1. The contents of the washing machine. Number 2. And the tumble dryer. Number 3. Every item of clothing he was initially wearing, but not anymore. Number 4. Yes, he's naked again. Number 5. Everything in Anna's school bag. Number 6. Everything in Mum's handbag. Number 7. 5 empty hula hoops packets. Number 8. A wet nappy. Number 9. 4 clean pairs of pants. Number 10. A dirty pair of pants. 11. All the paperwork. 12. Pants. 13. 6 billion DVD discs, scratched or licked, but usually both. 14. Fistfuls of rice cake crumbs. 15. Mr. Nice Guy. 16. The tears of a newly frustrated mum who had just cleaned the house that very morning and had a very stressful day at work. All she wanted to do was come home to a nice slice of leftover apple pie, but Daniel had breached the fridge locks and gobbled the slice himself. What an absolute kick to the gut. Well, she supposedly Sam had left some of the milk so she could have a nice glass in the evening after a little square of chocolate. Oh, that would be good. Afternoon yawned into evening and Mum sat surrounded with dishes, crumbs and wet pants, but she had that bit of milk. Until the dog came in and lapped it up just as she started to relax. Mr. Man, oh cheeky fella, apple-chomping Bucky Bud, little Mr. Stinky, noodle-doodler, little stud, peeping through the hills in far away to ham-egg chips and peas ahead, where Dad is munching through his luncheon and Danny Dudes wants to be fed. Of course, he's already had his lunch, but is peeking at a second snack. His doting eyes fall on the prize and then at Daddy's hunched up back. A cheeky smirk spreads through his mouth. He rests a single hand above Daddy's shoulder, waiting for the second he can nab all of his dinner. A victory, a winner, chuckling into moody pride. He smiles at Daddy, waves goodbye with Mummy's hand, then goes to hide. Those mumbling laughs heard through the house make even Doodle's victim wheeze. Oh doodle doer, Danny do, there are no days more fun than these. R.E. A plan. Dearly, I know this must be starting to get tiring now, but we need to keep trying. Daniel has just hit his head on. Dearly, I'm sorry, but there's no possibility that. Highly, I've looked into this for you, and unfortunately all I can see is a wall, and I don't want to have to pad it. Although padding it would be better than him getting a base of skull injury. Thank you for your email, Lee. He must have 3 negative lab PCR tests and a negative lateral flow test every day for a week to be able to stay overnight here on Friday. Can he do those? But travel is getting ridiculously difficult. He hit the taxi driver and they cried and screamed just louder and louder, and all I could show them was empty hands and that we didn't opt for this either. Lee, we appreciate your response, but we're out of options. If he cannot get on a bus by himself, then he cannot come and stay here for respite. Please do not let this tree go unwatered any longer. It is parching. Many thanks, Ginny. I'm sorry this is not better news for the tired family. A mirror on the mantel, next to your eyes. Buzz and Woody are flying from a moving truck, having flown far away from what's known. One of them screams and gets into danger, and I see you cling film your eyes with tears. A growing pain forms, and you hit yourself. Again and again, first softly and then hard. My head and heart jolt together. I see you and me in your face, both hitting ourselves. You for what you can't control, me for what I can, but I'm failing at. I woke up with a cough this morning. I haven't coughed in a while. Something feels wrong. It almost feels like it could be worse than a cough. Or maybe a cold, or flu, or pneumonia, or cancer. And if I have cancer, then what do? I can't just have cancer, because if I have cancer, who is going to do what I need to do? Because I have years and years of things that I need to do. I cannot leave him. I cannot leave him to the beasts of the world. I cannot leave him to the coldness of the air or the start of a toothache. I cannot leave him to fuzzy eyes of millions of whys, whats and whos. I cannot leave him to no mum or dad or me or dog or neighbours. God, Jesus, please, please, God, what will I do? I cannot leave him. I pray you protect him, but sometimes I pray that he will go to be with you before he can even suffer the loss of his mum or dad or me when my lungs are overrun with tumours. And he doesn't know any faces anymore. And he doesn't know why he doesn't know any faces anymore. And this cough never heals. I should go and get some Lemsip to soothe my throat. And pray, Lord, that my days will be many, so he's never without me. Apple core. There are so many things in my house that I've lost, and whenever I try to look for them, I always find a rotten apple core instead. I find them everywhere, on the shelves and in the fields, in the rays of afternoon sun and the dust that floats among them. Each lonely rotting core eating into the fur of the carpet and making it softer with mould fuzz. When I'm away, I remember the cores. Some of them live within me, softening the lining of my heart and rotting me into my own carpet. Jumbled notes from a musical father. Oh my fella. Maybe you aren't a husky jazz singer or a fresh-fingered pianist. Maybe you're not attuned to the pearly notes of the alto sax or the bumble of a double bass. But your deep-bellied hum puts the bass to shame. You ripple smooth beating loops in the puddles outside. Your high-pitched cheeps shed the birds of their feathers as though they do not reserve the right to cheep any more. When you rock back and forth on the brown dog sofa, you birth a drum beat. Bom, bom, bom.
The obsidian sky cloaked the world that night. The world pulled its hood up and concealed its face from the cosmos. A ghost of Christmas yet to come, with one hand outstretched, pointing to the grave of a mother's dream. A father sat upstairs, ears wide open. He prayed to the Lord, knowing his strength was not his own, and pleaded for more of it. Out of the numb quiet, a sound arose. When he heard it, the Milky Way turned and the air burned like Canis Majoris. It was a mother weeping, the sound. The father's heart contracted, making the stars shrink to a twinkle. The moon softened to foam. The only sound on the planet was a stifled weep for their boy, their newly defined boy with no crutches or frames, but no walking either. No wick for a flame or words to his name. Oh Lord, I can't fathom just how do we do this? How do we see through this? Answer my prayer. In the thinning of air, the tiring breaths start to slow. The mother's tears roll, but the tension turns weak and pale. The Lord answers as the father looks at the door of boy's bedroom. Where do you want me? The Lord says, here. So here he sits, gently holding the whimpers that float from downstairs and watching the echoes lean in.
Some dogs do. When Sid set off for school one day, a happy feeling came his way. It filled him up so much his smile could bloom the daisies for a mile. Without a how, without a why, Sid saw fluff clouds passing by. They looked like balls of every sort, footballs, netballs, on the court. Oh, Sid, he couldn't wait to play with the other boys all day. Picking up the ball and throwing down, boinging, bouncing through the town. When Sid arrived, he saw the boys, with their football and their noise, and so excited, jumped right in to try and pick it up again. The other boys, they kicked around and laughed at Sid reaching down. But Sid still tried to be a part and win the boys with his fond heart. But soon the others got fed up of Sid's way of playing keepy-ups. They took their ball and ran away and shut the gate so Sid would stay on his side. They forbid that they'd ever want to play with Sid. Sid's mum then saw what was up and saw her unhappy little pup. For Sid never really wants to play with footballs in a football way. The simple joy of holding it and throwing was enough for Sid. And Sid was fine, and he played elsewhere, but Mum didn't move from that place there. The feeling of it shocked her heart, defibrillating every part, crackling in a fiery way, but bruising deeper than the day's sunset, orange, purple, blue. Some dogs don't see, and some dogs do. City and Mud. So many look with pity at the home made with broken city and country mud, held together with the grace of a rugged cross in Galilee. Few know what lies behind those stiff-handled doors, a blonde boy combined with a nimbus, held and comforted only by hands that don't let the tears escape through the holes in his palms. When people see the frames with a family encased, faces lit with flame, the other half vanishes. The half held together with cupboard locks and not making eye contact with the blood droplets that roll down cheeks. And yet, the blood is made precious by blood born of sacrifice, shed to bless us, not oppress us. This blood is zealous. So this blood is the preface of this fine family home, country mud made into bone, a broken city made whole. Blonde Apple Boy. Yes, sometimes I worry he'll grow up in a hurry and I won't see him light up with childlike joy. But there's one thing I've got, knowing I'll never stop, growing ever fond of that blonde apple boy.
When Sid, that's right, that is Sid, isn't it? When Sid set off for school one day, a happy feeling came his way. It filled him up so much he found his paws just lifted off the ground. Without a how, without a why, Sid fell up towards the sky. Through swirling, that's right, that's him, through swirling puffs of cloud he twirled above a tiny toy town world, in the land of sun and moon, like a doggy-shaped balloon. At school, Sid asked his best